shut down the local big mama banks so they can institute a central banking system to rustle the power away from the mothers across the land. The tribal mothers was the purse holders. And now they got to give it all back to her. And they don't like it. And we don't care. We got the same compassion they have for us.
That's facts. Big facts. Yeah,
they want to know how they gonna live when we take our shit back. That's not my responsibility. How you live when we take our stuff back? I hope you live as miserable as we did. I hope it come in increments of 10, like you wish your suffering upon us in increments of 10.
Mm-hmm. That's fact.
And if we get to find some of these dirty players and take their head, I want to pull the guillotine lever.
That part. Yes, sir. Yeah.
We already discussed the Ibrahim Traore Putin thing.
Yeah, they wanted to say, so yeah, we did. I think that was from earlier about the well, I think what they were asking is, do you feel like Putin is legitimately backing him and has, really supporting him?
The same way I said earlier, the old guard got to give it to the new guard.
They might have came in late. Check out, if you'll be able to see the replay, family, in the live stream section of the channel, and then also the episode will be available soon once we can get in and get some editing done on and uploaded. But real quick, I got two more if we got time, Chief. One, Nicole's House of Wellness says she don't have a question, but she's curious about the Creole Pope and the first American Pope, which we kind of tapped in. Matter of fact, I'm glad she asked that because we talked about it on our last interview, our last interview. But then also, I saw how they did a little switcheroo. What do you think was the reason of them doing what they did, was saying he had a little bit of this, a little bit of that, instead of just putting a black one out? What do you think that was about?
Well, they can't openly admit he black until we realize what the one drop means. Right? He a mama's boy. That's trouble for the church. Because as a mama's boy, the odds is that he won't follow his mama wishes. And if she's a Creole with Louisiana and Haitian roots, he already know what understood need not be explained. Run big mama shit.
Well, there's that. So that's dope. And this will bring me to the last one I got, because I felt like this was a really good one too, regarding what all we spoke on. So one G-Force. So okay, now they're exposed. There's a new energy here now. So now what do we do to use all of this information and energy to our benefit?
We got to reach critical mass of awareness between as many other tribes as possible. The individual members' education is the goal in order to get them to be prepared to receive their birthright. Unfortunately, we're going to reach a point where we're going to have to give them shock and awe in order to wake their ass up. I don't know what it's going to look like, but it's going to be a massive release and download of information. And from there, that should wake their ass up. It could be anything from the Epstein files to the Diddy case, to the Podesta files, to the Hillary Clinton email scandal, or it could be something we ain't even seen yet. It could be some other event that we haven't even seen that triggered the shock and awe of information dump. It might be a computer hacker that spills top secret documents unredacted on the internet. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's a potential for a lot of those things, because of we have to get as many people aware of the shift by the ages and the shift by the authority to rule over the people of Earth. The mothers exercise first right of the earth right, and she's godfathered in through the oral tradition of the tribes, being the original law of the land. Following the oral tradition, she got a right to reclaim the land for the tribal mothers to restore balance back to the land. The whole concept or idea is to put the power where it belongs, to make everything run the way it's supposed to run, and Earth will become heaven again, and Atlas shrug and the parasites fall. Fuck them.
Yowzers. Yep. There's that. Man, yeah, that's deep. That's deep. Yeah, nah, that was dope, man. I definitely appreciate it, bro. It was another one of them ones. I knew this was gonna be a classic, just like the first one. It seems like time just flies by so fast, man. It was going on 3 hours. It seemed like 30 minutes to me, you know. But hey, it is what it is. I appreciate you, big bro. Like that was another classic one for the archives, man. It definitely was for sure. Did you want to leave the tribe with anything else on the way out before we shut down the fire session tonight?
Yeah, each one teach one. We all gonna reach some.
Yes,
Are
sir.
you old? Are you old in the way, niggas? Move out these babies' way. Help them if you know how to help them. If you don't, get out their way. We already had our turn. We had our day in the sun, our chance to shine. We blew it. Now we take our experience to show the youth how not to blow it like we did.
Yes, sir.
And pass it forward, pay it forward. The more people that you can teach them, because the more you teach, the further you'll reach. You'll never know. You might wake up the next king of the earth.
Yes, sir.
By just teaching them a little bit of truth. You don't know who you're going to reach. But the reach is critical for the redemption of the righteous, which is the tribes with the rightful status of blood right, air right, heritable birthright. And they know who we is. They've been following us since birth. So don't think, even wage war. We never waged war. So we was always receptive to the offer of peace until 2024. Nope, 2019. Because when Chief Pontiac come out, Rod Hayes, one of the first things he said was, I don't care about your treaties. You never honored one. Right? All of your treaties is predicated on a constructed fraud. Therefore, cancel them all for non-performance. Okay, now, looking at the treaty game, it's a stall tactic in warfare. It's supposed to have been used to bring to a resolution the final conflict of a war. But when you sit down and have a treaty negotiation between the leaders, that's why you're not allowed to kill the heads of state. But America do it religiously. The head of state, your leader, my leader, supposed to negotiate terms in which we cease fire. We stop fighting. Right? Well, they treaties is not made with us. Them treaties that you seeing is made with Europeans, French, and Spaniards. They not made with the tribes. Right? Now, we have what's called ancillary treaties. It's treaties that came about as a leverage because the ones like the Chata and like Chief Warhorse clan, her elders was forced to make treaties because the other civilized tribes made treaties. So now she got to make, her people have to make some kind of treaty in order to be exempt from the war effort that's being waged against the people of the land. We never waged war. Right? So when they call us outlaw tribes, them the tribes that was like, man, we ain't waged war against you. I'm not coming to talk to you about no damn treaty. Right? But the treaties don't have no organic original names as the tribes was being calling themselves at that time. You got to remember, all our tribal names, all our names used to be tied to something in nature. You was either tied to the river, to the sun, to the sky, or to the earth. You was tied to the wind. You was tied to the elements. You was tied to the animals. That's why you got people running around with the name Fox and Wolf. Right? Traditional so-called Judaic names. But the word wolf and fox not native to their tongue. Where in the hell they get it from? So we don't know what's taking place. It's a grand deception. Go back to Sons of Art of War, and you will find that he said all warfare. He didn't say some warfare, a little bit of warfare. He said all warfare, ALL. All warfare is predicated upon deception. Now, Karl von Clausewitz defended war. Karl von Clausewitz said war is an act of violence because of political ambition. Right? They telling us all this non-violent stuff, but they violently murdering us. The police shooting us down. They going up in these sisters' houses, shooting them in the bed at night. They shooting the babies in the park, and then they telling us to be non-violent. They telling you to be utterly insane. That's what they telling us. You have to be insane to accept violence against you with no retaliation of violence. Now, I found it kind of odd that all of the acts of violence in our community is against us, right? On all of the acts of violence in Paleface community is against them. Police shoot us all equal. The only people the police don't shoot down like they shoot down pale faces and Negroes is they don't shoot Asians down like that. They will shoot an Asian, but there's not enough of them for them to be a threat. So they don't shoot them down like that. They don't even, and then their lifestyle flies under the radar of what we call the criminal justice system. Right? There's very few Asians in prison. And they've been here for some hundreds of years, by the way. They've been here longer than prison's been here. Right? We amalgamated with many of them, and they dark as us now. Right? And they came over here, some of them was darker than us. Asians. And we don't want to have that discussion because it flies in the face of the doctrine of white supremacists divide and conquer mechanics of racism. Right? So this is why we tell y'all the treaties have nothing to do with us. They was all put together based on a deception. If they're based on deception, in law, that's called a fraud. Fraud vitiates all contract. To vitiate a contract means it's void and never had weight. It's retroactively restricted. None of their treaties got nothing to do with us. They all fraudulent on our behalf. In relation to us, they treaties is frauds.
Yeah, they never honor anything. So that stands the reason why when Dr. York went in with the Yamasee thing, being that the Yamasee don't got no treaties with them, they considered like an outlaw tribe besides the international zone file in 1993.
They call them, the United Nations call them OMEX, Elder. Yeah, that's what the United Nations identify the Yamasee as OMEX, but they still don't say they got no treaties with them.
No, they don't got no treaties with the United States. I looked it up several times. They got they got international recognition, but not treaties with the United States. So they consider like an outlaw tribe. So that makes sense that when Doc go in there with the Yamasee, they say, "Oh well, we don't give down." They don't honor no paperwork. They don't honor nothing. So how does that work? We shouldn't even go in there with no treaties, talking no treaty. They don't give a damn about no treaty.
Well, if they did.
Okay.
Now you notice that big old gigantic word if.
Right.
At the beginning of that sentence. If they did, we would be able to use treaties to make the government stand down on most cases.
Yeah.
But since they don't, which takes away the if factor because they don't honor them. Yep. Matter of fact, in the Dred Scott case, who do you think they was talking about when they said that they don't have no rights that a white man bound to respect? They got nothing to do with skin color.
Right.
It's got some chess terms.
Yeah. Yeah, because
what's being hashed out in legalese.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they got a game going in chess. Civilly mortis is the black, right? And the white nobility is the white. The first move was made by the white. That's called offensive. chess. And the response to the move of the white was the black. That's defensive chess. The rosters turned the board around because they say if they're gonna attack us using the philosophy of chess, we have to change how we play chess, and we have to use our defense as viable offense. We got to defensively attack. But the government call it in this era something called a preemptive strike. There's no such thing.
But
There's no such thing as a preemptive strike. I was scared you was gonna blow me up, so I blowed you up first. That's retarded. The whole thing with warfare, and this is what's up. It's more facets of warfare than people could possibly understand in a civilian life. You have to be a student of war and combat. And thousands of years of war and combat has molded the reality that we live in today.
Right.
So we have to study warfare. Then you understand why all your street blocks are square. When they used to be concentric circles going into the downtown area.
Yeah.
Right. Now they're not concentric circles no more. That's called militarization of the village. The whole part about squaring off the corners, that's Masonic. It's because it's giving you a clue of who's involved. Squaring off the corners in regimented style. Regiment is military. Squaring of the corners is Masonic.
Right.
Garvey had a whole military ready to tear something up till he read the ledgers and he say, well, I can't do too much now. I just realized they got another 100 years of this 200-year George Washington challenge. So if it take us 200 years, it don't matter. Up you mighty people, do what you will. We still can fight within the confines of the restrictions and educate ourselves above the condition, but they teaching y'all that education is toxic because they use toxic education to oppression. Right.
Hey, Rob.
What's going on there? If you get my shirt?
I want to cut you.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, yeah. So, Rod, would it be safe to say the Bible was some type of form of treaty because it kind of like say turn the other cheek, love your enemy? You know what I'm saying? It got like it makes us passive. Go ahead.
The Bible is a contract, and the Bible is not just only a contract though. It's also the map to get out of the contract is in the book.
Go ahead. Fire.
But not only is it a map to get out of the contract being in the book, the parameters of the war is also in the book. Right? They tell you it's against Esau and Jacob. And we don't not realizing what they telling us. Esau means ruddy red earth, clay, the born of the earth. Jacob means supplanter, underminer, usurper.
That's right.
So the war is between Esau and Jacob. Now, the miseducated Hebrews think that Esau means pale face. That's not what it means. Adam wasn't a pale face. The word for Adam, Adama, and the word for Edom, Adama, is the same word.
Yeah.
They just tricked us by translating one with an E and one with an A because all vowels are interchangeable according to Grimm's Law of Grammar. Right? So we thinking that Adam and Edom mean two different things, but the war is always been against Adam. And what was the number one tool they used against Adam?
His woman.
They turned him into a rat. He was the first recorded rat in the history of the world.
Oh yeah, he told him. Yeah, I see where you're going. Go ahead.
Right. So, but why did they do that to him? To compromise his manhood. Eve wasn't the problem. Eve was the solution. If you eat from this tree, like Nachash said, the whisperer, the one with the lisp, the one who know how to conjure. If you eat this fruit, we ain't gonna be their slaves no more. We gonna figure our way out of this. And then he turned on his woman. As soon as he turned on his woman, that was the fallen man. You can't turn on your woman.
That's
Soon as you turn on your woman, that's the fall of man. That's literally a reenactment of the fall of man.
Go ahead, bro.
But a lot of these women have misunderstood what does it mean to turn on your woman.
Go ahead.
When you push your woman between you and the enemy, that's what it means. You can't never put your woman between you and the enemy. Your woman supposed to push you between her and the enemy because you supposed to be there to bust his head.
Go ahead.
But you ain't gonna be there to bust his head because you telling on your woman. Man. Oh man, I don't want no smoke with you, dog. You know, that's my girl, man. You know how she is. You know how the brothers be in the hood. Oh man, you know how my girl is, man. I just, you know, man, I want problems always. I want all the problems. If you mess with man, I'm not turning down no problems. But it might not come in the reaction that you expect. Right? Because remember, all warfare is based on deception. I'm going to make you believe one thing, but you didn't already violate it, so I'm going to make sure you understand it. FAFO Generation X. We've been squaring up since I can remember. I don't remember when we wasn't squaring up. I remember now when we switched from squaring up to busting caps.
Right.
So it ain't even safe to square up no more because these dudes are too sissified. They too effeminate, pusillanimous, right? To even stand there toe-to-toe with another man and see who the better man is. Right. The better man ain't just who could throw the hands the best. Sometimes the better man is the loser of the fight, but it's what he did after the fight that made him the better man.
Right. Right.
See? So a lot of people not paying attention to wars and rumors of wars. We ain't never not been at war. Right. Go back far as you can for 6,000 years. You can go back further than that. You can go back millennia. Ever since we had some visitors came to Earth, we've been at war. We had Pyramid Wars. We had Weaponized Wars. We had Anunnaki Wars. We had Andromedan War. We ain't never not been. Every time somebody come to our house, they find that they like our house and they don't think we deserve the house that we built. But we built it though, to the specifications that we've been putting in our family's generational understanding of how we're supposed to live in harmony with the land. We built it. But now that we built it, foreigners is coming and saying, oh man, that's a nice house y'all built. I don't need this. I'm going to take it for myself. And we're not supposed to say nothing.
Right.
Right? That's what the whole police situation is. That's why the police don't honor nothing that you say to them.
No constitution.
Because they not here to listen to you. You the enemy. They the soldier. They finna take you in. They finna round you up with their ran of war rant. Half the people in jail, they didn't even have a warrant when they got arrested. They're supposed to automatically been thrown out. Not supposed to arrest nobody without a warrant.
Yeah.
But how many people you know get arrested, then they go get a warrant?
Right.
You ain't supposed to do that.
Yeah. It's kidnapping. And
that's what it is. That's what it is. Most people don't know it's in the Supreme Court rulings that the police is not supposed to arrest you before the complaint is filed, registered, and logged with the magistrate. They're not supposed to detain you, hold you, take you to the station, stop you where you at and hold you. They ain't supposed to do none of that. They do it every day, all day long, 24 hours a day.
Color of law.
Yep.
Color of law. Hey, so my next question is, Rod, so what business do we have with them then? It says they ain't honor no treaties. We ain't got no more treaties with them because they broke every single one of them. What business do we have with them besides operating with their fiat currency? You know what I'm saying? That's the only business we got with them, seem like right now.
We don't have no business with them. They got business with us.
Okay.
They business is harassing us, killing us, and locking our ass up. That's their business. We don't have any business with them. That's why they always have to ask you a question. They have to initiate a dialogue. They have to open the conversation.
Yeah, yeah. That's why. That's why. So this is the thing, and we know that the government is rogue since 2001. We know it's been heist. So it's like this, man. So I think all we can do is really stay out their way as they go down, start going down, screaming and kicking.
That's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, because like all you gotta do is just stay out their lane, because this system, this whatever this is, it been faulty for a while. So it's like it's you know, it's inevitable to go down. You know.
So what they want us to get involved in all of this activist work for these people. That's why we don't need them. They need us.
Right.
Our participation legitimizes their false system.
Yeah.
How do they get us to participate? They usually push our emotional buttons.
Yeah.
Right? They need us protesting in the streets out of ignorance, being rioting, tearing up the town. When we won't do it no more, because we see it don't work. It's not producing nothing. It's just like masturbation. Feel good, but you ain't gonna make no baby.
Yeah.
You know. So while we going through this, we watching them pay people to organize a rally, pay people to participate in the rally, and then tell us it just happened.
Yeah.
Oh, the people protesting, we need to get this under control, call in the National Guard. They got to call the National Guard in anyway.
Yeah.
They got to call them in anyway because the police got to go.
Yeah.
Because we've been socially conditioned for so long to not be able to function without the police, when we get rid of the police, we need somebody there to keep the people functional.
That's fact.
It's like, look, when you go into rehab to get off heroin, right? They give you some stuff called Suboxone, right? That's the same thing. Replace the substance of addiction with a more benign, less invasive drug that'll wean you off of the drug you addicted to. We addicted to police violence. If the police just quit committing violence on us, we'll panic.
Damn.
If the police just literally did what their job description was and only respond when clip on, like the sheriffs normally did before they begin to be institutionalized with police mentality.
Yep.
You ain't supposed to look. Once they start doing that, the people will panic.
Right.
The police is the ones who force crime. We didn't have crime or criminals before 1492. How do you know that? Because we didn't have no prisons and no jails. And we had no police.
Right.
The police is not 100 years, 150 years old yet.
Go ahead.
Let that sink in. They wasn't even called police before that. First they was called copper tops, and it was another name for slave catcher.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now it's a name for a battery. Let that sink in. Because every time we turn around, the copper tops is battering the people. So they say, well, they battering them so good, we might as well turn them into batteries because they keeping the energy of fear-mongering, powerlessness alive in the minds of the people. They reverse charging them, which is depleting the charge.
hey, Rod. So we know we don't got no business with them, and all they crimes that they especially drug crimes, especially, it's really not no crime, really, technically, unless you sold it to somebody that passed away that they caused bodily injury. But it's like the only way you can supposed to be going to jail for drugs if you sold somebody some bad shit. You know what I'm saying? That shit wasn't no good. That's like
you told them some poison in place of drug.
Yeah.
Look,
what they did with
now,
yeah, go ahead.
There's a term in law called acceptable risk. If a person is a drug addict, he done already accepted the possibility that he could OD. So if he come to you to solicit you for drugs to purchase your narcotics, whatever the case may be, and he OD, especially if he OD because it was good and he was used to using trash. Right? That's called acceptable risk. It's the same caveat that farmers, when you hear the reading of the disclaimers on the drugs on the commercials. If you take this drug, you may have one or all of these symptoms that we're about to name for the next 3.5 minutes of the commercial.
And then they got it in a small print where you can't see it at the bottom.
Yeah. But it's called acceptable risk.
Yeah.
Right? You already know there's some risk involved. You just don't, you figure that the benefit outweigh the risk. It might not. What if you one of the people that's sensitive to the drug where you get all the side effects?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And that brings up another question because you're going into that. Now, I put out a tape about 2 days ago about John D. Rockefeller taking over the medicine game. He pretty much got rid of all the holistic. We had nothing but holistic schools over here. We didn't have the medical schools they got where they teaching all of the pharmaceutical. Oh yeah, it's no cures and all that. We didn't have none of that. So could you go in on a little bit on that on the holistic schools that we had over here prior to John D. Rockefeller getting rid of paying everybody to get rid of the holistic schools?
Well, that was when they was introducing the American Medical Association. Okay. A lot of people don't know you used to go to the barber to have surgery. You go to the hospital. You used to go to the barber to get your tooth pulled. That was the other side of the barber shop. The medicine man most of the time was the barber. He was the one tell you what you need on the land when you come to town. That was the check-in chief. If he wasn't the barber, the barber wasn't the one who was the medicine man. The medicine man worked right in the back. 9 out of 10, it was some old lady. Really old lady. Been around a long time, has seen it all, done it all. Right? So now, fast forward, they want to institute financial. Remember, everything that we naturally do, they can villainize it, demonize it, so they can monetize it.
Copyright it. Yeah.
Right. A license is permission to do something that's illegal. How is it illegal to heal somebody that's sick? Who passed that law and made it illegal?
Yeah.
But you need a license to practice medicine.
Yeah.
Right.
Practice. Keyword.
Yeah. Practice. And we know, and we got our nervous to thank for us understanding the meaning of practice. You can be the greatest at what you do, but if you're not practicing, they assume you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because they don't never see you at practice.
Yeah, they never see him at practice, but he still win. Let's go sick that. Because everything you saying is straight facts, because they tell us all of this. They say that when they got the Native Americans was over here, and then when 1607 is really when diseases started coming, when they came over here. I heard an old Native American chief say that it wasn't no rats or none of that. So could you go in on like how when they came, that's when the diseases all came, like the smallpox, all that came with them over here.
You gotta remember they was giving peace offerings. Well, one of our customs was called the blanket right. Mm-hmm. Right. And we used to exchange blankets, and Big Mamas used to exchange slippers. Well, in Latin America, it's called a chancla. It's a symbol of power. So when they exchange them, that's recognizing the other tribe. Well, you got the European came over here, and he had smallpox infested blankets and syphilis infested hookers. Yeah. And the concubines from over there would be treated drastically different over here if they wasn't killing the people off with their diseased bodies. Dang. All this was by design. This is not a secret. We ain't the first ones they did it to. Yeah. Think they learned how to do it to us. They was giving Mongolians and Huns smallpox infested stuff before they got to build up an immunity to it.
Yeah.
Right. You gotta remember, before they started fighting to the west, to the east, they was already fighting to the west.
Uh-huh.
The ones they was fighting in the east was in the east was called barbarians.
Right.
Right. The ones they was fighting in the west was called Tartarians.
Right.
Right, which traces back to the Book of Enoch and the land of Tartarus, which is described as the exact geography under the ice of Antarctica.
Right.
The coldest desert in the world. Right.
They find.
So,
Oh, you should go.
yeah. So they think that
Nope.
it's all by design. Very poorly designed at that.
It's high level alchemy, man, because like you said, this is a conjure, and that's part of the alchemy. So now let's go to the next phase of this, because we're dealing with treaties, and we're talking about different mechanisms that they use. Now let's go to the first wave. So what would you say was the first wave? Could you like go in order with the liquor, then the heroin, then it was the coke, then like coke came after that. It was liquor first, wasn't it? Prohibition, then it was heroin after the war, Vietnam War, and then crack. They hit us with crack in 81. Now I heard some people say it was 79. They seen it, but it wasn't. But they say 81, man. I'm talking a whole bunch of smoker. They say 81, man. That's when they was in height. So my cousin said 81. That's when it really crack really hit. But could you go in a timeline on those mechanisms of the different alchemical, like as far as the drugs and liquor and the different formats on the drugs?
It has some famous nightclubs in the 70s: Studio 57, Studio 104, Playboy clubs, Hustler clubs, and all of these night spots. They had something called freebase. This was in the 70s, late 60s and the 70s. Freebase is what became crack cocaine, right? Because they used to cook the impurities off of the powder cocaine and to smoke it. They called it freebasing, right? If you go back to NWA, the song, I think it's Boys in the Hood, he said, my man JD was on freebase. The boy JD was a friend of mine till I caught him in my car trying to steal my Alpine, right? They wasn't calling it crack. The government named it crack when they made it in UCLA, Berkeley. They have the actual papers that was written on the refined cocaine process that they was doing in UCLA that made crack cocaine. This is how they even learned how to freebase. Right?
Hey, using the Skinner box, right, Rod?
No, I'm talking about they
on the monkeys. They was giving crack to the monkeys, putting them in the Skinner box. I remember that study.
You know what? They might have been using the Skinner box, but I know they was testing the crack cocaine on monkeys, and they were offering food versus crack, and the monkey would take the crack over the food. But that was after they had refined it.
Yeah. Okay.
You gotta remember, before they refined cocaine in the crack, they had tried to do it with caffeine. Right, and then that's when they was called. That's what speed is. It's the sifted down caffeine.
Yeah,
but it wasn't as addictive as the coca leaf. Right. So since it's not as addictive as the coca leaf, and now you can go buy it in the store and they call it no dose.
Yeah.
Right. If that would have been the equivalent of the cocaine, that would be just like selling crack over the counter.
Yeah.
But because the cocaine and the crack is so much stronger than the caffeine, then they make the caffeine like that's passe. Remember, you used to have to go find a person that knew how to make aspirin. Aspirin wasn't no common pain reliever.
Yeah.
Only certain people knew how to make it.
Yeah, it's a certain plant.
until they found out that they could monetize it and sell it as powder called step back in the South.
Yeah, stand
Some
back.
some of the people know what I'm talking about down in the South.
Yeah,
We call it yeah.
I remember my granddaddy talking about that.
Yeah.
Stand back. Give it to him. He said, if I'm having a heart attack, go in my pocket, give me some of that stand back, pour it down in my mouth, and stand back. All
it is aspirin. Yep. But it was pure aspirin before they started putting impurities in it.
Yeah.
Right? Then they found that the aspirin have a side effect of burning holes in your stomach. Mm-hmm. But they didn't tell us that. They whispered it to us. So now we be taking aspirin, burning holes in our stomach, and wonder why we got ulcers.
Yep. That's what, later found out that.
You know, so all that is monetizing stuff and using different things. Now, when they was developing crack in UCLA, it was a CIA funded operation. At that time, George Herbert Walker Bush was the director in the 70s under Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford. But crack don't hit the streets until Ronald Reagan is in office.
Reagan era.
Right. So Reagan ended up being undermined at every turn by George Bush. George Bush was scared to death of Ronald Reagan. You don't remember his campaign promises revealing the UFO files?
Yeah.
We don't remember he was saying that in his campaign. He was saying he was going to open the UFO files, the CIA files, all of the top secret government stuff that the people supposed to be aware of that the government was keeping from them. That was his platform.
Yeah.
But now we only remember something called Reaganomics.
Yeah. Reaganomics. Well, the rich get richer and the poor get poor. Hey, Nino Brown on New Jack City said they running a strange program, y'all, in the Reagan era. They running a strange program where the rich get richer and the poor get poor. That's crazy. Hey, this is what I was gonna ask you though, Rod. Too. It's gonna be like I don't like we talking about that, right? They get all soft up. But okay, from back in the day, I remember because we're talking about the herbal schools and how John D. Rockefeller got rid of all the herbal schools. Because everybody, my grandma, all the people that was like born before the 60s, they knew how the natural herb, they knew how to natural heal. Like my grandma, all I had to do is call my grandma. If I had something, man, call my grandma. Like I said, my stomach hurt, grandma. She'd say, go in there and get some baking soda, stir it around in the warm water, and then drink it. Right? I do it, boom.
We call that Alka-Seltzer now.
Yeah. 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 Put it in the cup. Yeah, you put it in the cup and it for you. Yeah.
When the women over here was raising children, they learned what every plant was. They learned what every herb, tree, rock, soil patch. Because you gotta remember, you could be walking on brown soil and all of a sudden you hit a patch of dirty red soil. You keep on walking far enough, you're going to hit a patch of dark black soil in the middle of nowhere. The change in the soil is changing in what we call elements. The chemical properties of the different colors of soil is different. And this when you talk about Edom, you talking about ruddy red, you talking about Mississippi clay dirt. Ain't no Mississippi clay dirt in the Middle East.
It's how iron, red dirt, how iron.
Yeah, ain't no Mississippi clay dirt in the Middle East.
Nah, it's all saying. So yeah, so what it stands the reason that all those schools that we had, those medical schools that our grandmothers and them were attending those type of schools and getting their information.
No, we didn't have schools.
Well, like not schools, but you like a center where you learn, where they teach and pass that
right.
information.
So
yeah,
every family had a specialty.
Yeah,
and then it was somebody in every family responsible to learn certain stuff.
Yeah, pass it down. Yeah.
All right. Most of the women had to learn midwifery and doula practice early.
Yeah.
By the time they got to be adult women, they supposed to have been the masters of yoni magic, right? They took that away from them. They're like, no, we can't let them have that much control over their own self, their own body. They not competent to govern over their own body, right? So they took all of that stuff and put it into a hospice center called a hospital, right? And the hospitalers, if you look them up, not hospital, hospitalers is the secret society, like Masons, like Knights Templar, right? And they was the ones who made the agreement with the Shriners to administer health care. That's why all Shriners hospitals is supposed to always be free for children. They're not, never supposed to be billed at a Shriner hospital for taking a child.
Facts.
The difference is the Shriners hospitals are normally the ones who still follow the Imhotep oath, not the Hippocratic oath. We forgot Imhotep was the father of medicine.
Yeah, that's right.
Hippocrates was just a Johnny-come-lately interloper that was trying to figure out what was being talked about in the old records.
Yeah, what Imhotep put down. Yeah. And look, Rod, so do you think that man, okay, I might want supposed to say that then. So let's ask this question then. All right, so Rod, the medical game. So pretty much, because man, I'm telling you, the hospitals they get rid of people, man, and then the format that they got in there, based on what the Rockefeller tape said, and based on when I've been up in there, they really on a program that it's on how much money we can get out this guy. Let's take him down here and put him in this machine, this X-ray machine. It's $2,500 just for putting you in that machine. Then let's take him upstairs, give him 25 drugs, and we're gonna charge him $2,000 for that. Then they charging you $300 every 2 hours for the room, like you staying at a $100 motel. And the food is so crap up in there. You know, this is the next thing. Let's bring the next question. Here you go, right here. It came to me. Now, so when my grandma, before she died, she was in the hospital. And she called us to say, hey, y'all need to bring me some doggone food up here, right? And my grandma from down Mississippi, like that area, right? She raised her own cows, chickens, everything. She raised her own stuff all the way till she died, right? I remember she still had chickens when she died, right? But that's what I meant to say. She said, y'all need to bring me a real burger, because she said that because the chicken up here, it must have been mad when it died. It must have been mad when it died because it tastes like rubber, right? It must have been mad. It's a chicken. That's a head chicken. Must have been mad. And she said that it tastes like rubber, and it tastes like it don't got no cock-a-doodle-doo, meaning that it ain't chicken. And this was way back before I even knew about them growing chicken in the lab and all that. They might have been growing the chicken in the lab way back then when my grandma said ain't no cock-a-doodle-doo in this chicken. Now I'm trying to tell you. They thought she was going. They had to make her like she was crazy, right? I didn't taste real chicken. I didn't pluck my own real chicken. This ain't no chicken. And so we went to a place called Jack in the Box. I don't know if y'all got them up there, but down south they got a place called Jack in the Box. They sell burgers. It's kind of like McDonald's, Burger King, same. But
they got called kangaroo meat back in the day.
Yeah, they got shut down, right? They got shut
That's
down.
what happened. That's why they're not as popular as they used to be. The kangaroo meat scandal.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they started recovering from that, they had a horse meat scandal. All this stuff is Googleable information.
Yeah. It's funny that you say all that, because now I think about it, make it funnier what my grandma said. Hey, so my grandma, my cousin bought her the burger. She got the burger, ate it. She said, I'm gonna tell you now, because something going on here. She said there ain't no moo in that burger. Ain't no moo in that burger, and it wasn't no cock-a-doodle-doo in that chicken. And so that couldn't have been no real burger. It had to be something else. That's what my grandma was saying. So based on that's what I meant to tell you. Now, so the meat over here. A lot of people stop eating meat now since the Chinese selling all the pigs over here, but they won't let it be exported to their country. They won't accept hogs from over here. They own all the hog farms, the Chinese, but they won't accept the hogs to their country. Does that sound like some kind of military warfare or something? Now, so the meat, how are we gonna do it? Because there's some people that still want to eat meat, and they don't got no cows. You know what I'm saying? Who owns some cows? Nobody really owns cows no more, really. You know, so chickens, and you know. So do you think we should start our own chicken farm, or if you a meat eater, should you start your own little small little get together for a while till we can get some kind of big operation going on? The meat game. What you think? Should we stop eating meat altogether? What's your take on it? Because people got different blood types. Go in on the meat thing.
Listen, meat, vegetables, whatever it is. Once you kill it, it's dead. I don't care if it's a plant or if it's an animal. Once you kill it, it's dead. Right? It's just that it takes longer for vegetables to die than for meat to die. Right? All we doing is translating life force from one organism to another. Whether you eat meat or not should be your own personal preference. A lot of people can't go vegan. As soon as they go vegan, they can't hold body weight. Right? And then they start getting weak. Then they look like they got malnutrition.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Everybody not supposed to be vegan, just like everybody not supposed to eat meat. Some people are supposed to be pescatarians. They only supposed to eat seafood. Right? And they normally have a reaction when they eat other stuff. Their body be like, nah, man, this ain't where it's at right here. That's not your cultural diet, and I ain't finna buy it.
Rod, I was just about to ask you that. Like, so would it be safe to say that whatever tribe, say if you had to use a tribe from that's based on the shorelines, like you talk about the crab tribe from the West Coast, the crab plant. So they ate certain crab that they can eat crab. It's like a lot. And it wouldn't affect them as it would affect another tribe that wasn't a Bay tribe. Could you go in on that? The different tribes ate different things depending on where they land was.
Yeah, we talked about that before on several different occasions.
Yeah.
Where your ancestral diet, right, traced back to the land your people was at for the longest period of time. Like my ancestral diet is Southern cooking.
Yeah.
Right? We used to eat dandelion greens, now they got us eating collard greens.
Yeah. Dang.
You can find out why by when looking at the nutritional value and the health benefits of the two.
The hybrid. Yeah.
Right? They got us eating turnips and mustards, which is not a bad green.
Yeah.
You know, but the dandelion is the king of nutritional biological support of the greens.
That's facts.
But them collard greens, look, they don't even taste right if you don't eat them with your fingers.
Yeah.
Not to nobody that's from the tribes.
You know about that, bro.
Look, if you don't mash that cornbread up with them greens with your fingers, it don't taste right.
Man, you know, hot sauce and that cornbread, man. That cornbread and hot sauce on them green, man. Yep. Make me want to cook some greens tomorrow, bro. I might go cook some greens tomorrow. Yeah, you making me hungry, man. Because I sure been fasting all day.
But my cousin Chuck told my mama to taste some greens one time, and they was on the fork, and my mama tasted them. She was like, "Hold on, give me that plate." She put the plate. She said, "Hold this fork." Oh, I know what's missing out of these.
The sauce. He missing the apple cider vinegar. That's what he was missing.
Look, when you don't eat it with your fingers, they don't have the same effect.
Yeah.
You can ask anybody from Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, or Tennessee, Kentucky. You can even ask some of the pale-face folk. They'll tell you the same thing.
You talk about the cooks and all that, the cooks, the different families that had different things. Now in Memphis, because I know it's different cultures everywhere, but everybody got different styles. People had different styles. In Memphis, they got a different style. In Detroit, the players got a different style. It's similar, but they got a little slight difference. Like I remember that, like if you come to Detroit, there was a certain type of Jeep that everybody drove up there, a certain type of car that everybody rocked. So could you go in on that, the trend that we set and the time frame? I remember when everybody was wearing Chuck Taylors, and then they stopped wearing them, and then 20 years later, they started everybody wearing Chuck Taylors. It was like, so the different phases of the trends that we set. Could you go in on that?
Different trends normally take on regionally first. This is how you see how a culture is expressed. Right? It was one time in Chicago, the only shoes you seen a Stone wearing was the original black and red Air Force Ones. The original black and red Air Force Ones, you wasn't finna catch a Stone in them. But the GDs will be wearing the all-white Air Force Ones. Why? Jordan, number 23, Chicago Bull. This brother representing us, we representing him. I'm using my tribal way of representing him with these white Air Force Ones. You using yours with the black and red. I prefer low tops. You like the high tops. Right? So it's the same with the Chuck Taylors in Cali. Right? The Chuck Taylors became equivalent of combat boots to soldiers out west. It became part of the dress code of the culture of the West. Right? When they ask you why, it's just the law of the West. Only somebody from the West can understand the law of the West. Right? So when you go out there and you get involved in their politics, but you don't know their political structure, you're going to get crushed every time. Right? But if you know how their politics work and you get a respect, you don't have the problems that you have when you understand the culture. Right? So we crisscrossing all over the land now. Spider webs. We sewing it up. Right? Because now you got Crips and Bloods in the Midwest, and you got folks and vice lords out west. You got them all in New York. But this is really what we're doing is tracking everybody going back home after fighting the wars on different parts of the land. Every tribe was called into Florida when it first set off. This is why none of them boats in the history books landed in Florida after the Gullah War started, because they was blocking the intake from them to get to New Orleans. There was the war zone was the Gulf of America as it is now. Trump renamed it. The Gulf of America was the battlefield. So all of the settlers to come after that, they have to settle going north on the eastern seaboard. Our intake is not the eastern seaboard. That's called a breach of security. Somebody breached the security. All you got to do is look at who territory they said it was. The New England territory. Right? The New England territory is where's the Old England territory? Because you won't know who's claiming the New England territory if you don't know who has claimed the Old England territory. Right? So the culture influences how we move on the land, and then it show you where we at when we get there.
Yeah. Because NWA came out at a time when dope, it was like, the police, brutality, all that. So, but speaking of going into now, do you think that the music is keeping the gun violence like not letting us know? Because it seems like to me when they do the raps and then they say certain key words like the N word. When they say the N word, it's like they talking about us or their own people. Like they making us us the enemy. Like you said, like a while back, you said that we just don't know who the enemy is. We fighting the wrong enemy, right? So do you think the music is still being weaponized to keep us thinking that we are the enemy? Our own, besides the people that look like us but ain't us?
So the experiment for weaponized music goes back to Tavistock Institute in the development of a pop culture iconic group called the Beatles.
Yeah, I remember.
An MK Ultra collaboration between the CIA and MI5, MI6. This collaborative effort was trying to use what's called the Pied Piper effect. Remember, the Pied Piper came to town to get rid of the rats. But what happened when they didn't want to pay him for getting rid of the rats? He came back and he Pied Pipered the children right on up out of town. He cut off their resources to their future. Right? He just stole their whole future from them by stealing their children and brought an end to bloodlines. Whoever was part of that village, their bloodline was cut off when the children left. At least on that territory. All these stories have significance in pop culture. They got significance in politics. They got how we perceive them and where do they fit to explain the story is why they kept in. You got to remember, in order to keep something in the forefront of somebody's mind, you got to keep telling them.
Yeah.
Because soon as you stop telling them, it's going to sink into the subconscious. And if it's not required and needed, then it won't be pulled back to the forefront ever again. So all of the stuff that they keep repetitiously telling us, the nursery rhymes, the fairy tales, the mythology, the religious dogmas, right? All that's to keep that program at the forefront of the mind, occupying your short-term memory, jamming your computer processor.
Yeah, right. Rod, I remember you was on that tape with Dr. Kia, and Dr. Kia was twisting her cap back. And I said, damn, Rod, no more than the doctor. You know what I'm saying? yeah, right. Because you was telling her stuff about her career, like stuff that she didn't even know about her career. Like, man, that shit was crazy. You can go back and watch that tape, y'all, about the me and Rod did called Rod Receipt class with Dr. Kia. That's dope, man. Shout out Dr. Kia, man. Pruitt.
Yeah, that's my girl.
Yeah, she deep too.